Ready? Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to the Monday, April 14th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Crutcher.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Cometzo. Majoris.
Here.
Manti.
Here.
Perot. Westendorf.
Here. All right, and on to item number 2, approval of items on the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? None. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve items on the consent agenda for the March 10, 2025 minutes of the Farmington Planning Commission.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item number 3, approval of regular agenda. I have a motion. Do we need a motion?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda for the Monday, April 14th meeting of the Farmington Planning Commission.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And on to item number 4, public hearing for the 2026 to 2031 capital improvement program. If you would, please.
Sure. As discussed at prior meetings, Michigan Public Act 33 of 2008 and the Farmington City Code, Section 23 to 29, state that a capital improvement program shall be created each year for the ensuing 6 years. The goal of the CIP is to provide a roadmap for future funding and planning of capital improvement projects and is based on information from all of the city's planning documents and input from administration and various boards and commissions. The plan has been available for review on the city's website and also in printed format in the city manager's office. And at the Planning Commission's March 10th meeting, a public hearing was scheduled to hear comments from the public on the 2026 to 2031 capital improvement program. This public hearing was advertised as required, and administration is requesting the Planning Commission to hold the public hearing. After the public hearing, later on in the agenda, the Planning Commission will determine whether to approve the program or not. So we'd be looking for a motion to open the public hearing.
A motion to open.
Motion to open public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. If we have anyone from the public who'd like to step up and make a comment.
Give him the mic.
Do we need a mic? Sorry.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
We'll come to you.
I just had one question in regards to the, what is it, Spruce and Ash? Just wondering when the opening date was for that restaurant.
Well, we'll get down to that one in a little bit here on the
Okay, that's what I
agenda.
thought. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. And I'm sure they'll gladly answer that question here shortly. Thank you. Any other public comment? All right. Seeing none, do we need a motion to close public comment?
Motion to close public comment regarding the 2026 to 2031 capital improvement program for the city of Farmington.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item number 5, unfinished business. I don't see anything listed here, so we'll move on to item number 6, new business. First one is the site plan review for the proposed outdoor seating of spruce and ash at 33043 Grand River Avenue. Mr. Weber, could you please give us an overview?
Sure. The owners of Spruce and Ash have submitted a site plan for an outdoor seating area at the restaurant located at 33043 Grand River in the Central Business District. Outdoor seating in the CBD requires review and recommendation by the Downtown Development Authority, Design Committee, and approval by the Planning Commission. The DDA Design Committee reviewed and recommended approval of Spruce and Ash's outdoor seating site plan at their April 3rd meeting. And there are attached in your packet copies of the meeting minutes and the approved site plan and support materials. The applicant petitioner, Good Food Farmington LLC, has submitted a layout of the proposed outdoor seating area, and this will be reviewed by our guests here today momentarily. In your packet, you have the sections of the zoning ordinance that apply to the site plan review. And I would invite our guests to come up to the podium and give a little bit of background about what they're proposing.
Thank you. We are here today just to kind of go over the proposed outdoor seating at the restaurant. What we're hoping to accomplish, what we'd like to have, are sets of 4 top tables that have fencing around just to satisfy the requirements for our liquor license. There would be 9 total tables in there with the umbrellas that you'll see. I have several pictures here that I can go through of the rendering of the space.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Trevor Tipton. I'm David Ash from Good Food Farmington, 33043 Grand River. So we will be, we're proposing to.
Can you step closer to the mic, please?
We're proposing to construct a fence and planter boxes on the space closest to the building while leaving the natural barrier that's on the street untouched and unadulterated.
The idea behind the fencing is to make those somewhat modular so that the planter boxes have a weighted base to keep them sturdy, have the fence panels attached to them, but then come fall, wintertime, when the snow would need to be removed, we can actually remove that whole fence just to make that much easier.
And most importantly, it'll look nice.
Is the, I don't know, do you have more before we ask questions? Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. So is the intent for you to have that seating up all year round then? Because I know we're working on modifying the ordinance for such a thing.
I think we would keep it up as long as we can. You know, obviously in the dead of winter, I don't know if it makes much sense to keep it out there, but,
Sure.
you know, at this point, we'd keep it as long as the weather permits.
Understandable. Anybody else have any questions?
So if I'm understanding the location correctly, is there then,
Oh, thank you.
sorry, the pedestrian walkway would then be on the other side of the fences?
Yes.
Correct.
So the egress of the traffic wouldn't be impacted from the seating. This is the part that kind of abuts towards the street.
Yeah, in the rendering here, that's the existing column that's there that holds, so that kind of creates a natural walkway.
Go ahead, Chris.
And there's about 7 feet between that archway and the wall of the,
Oh, every bit of.
it's pretty wide.
Yeah, I would say
I
8
think
to
it might
10
be a little
feet.
bit more.
I would say it's closer to 8 to 10 feet.
You're saying that's the walkway is 8 to 10 feet, right? Okay, not the seating area, or both.
The walkway that's to the left of the fence.
Got it, okay.
What I was-
So what would be on the south end where the landscaping does a little U-turn back towards the building? That all exists. So on your diagram as you see it, where that little tree is, right, that all exists. So there's no new planting, there's no new curbing. You're pretty much just what I would call enclosing the entry or the point where the landscaping ends, adding a planter box, fencing back north, stopping at the column, picking it back up on the other side. So the only way that patrons can enter is through the one entry egress point there, servers and patrons.
Patrons, correct.
Correct.
And then you maintain the walkway there, and there's, how much room is there from where the tables are for traffic, for pedestrian or patrons and servers between what's the existing
Between the
established
the
greenery and whatever?
the side of the column that's closest to the furthest to the west, closest to that the drive there, to the end of the pavers where the decorative shrubs start, I believe is about 11 feet.
Okay. So it's it's within reason for a four-top table and people pulling their chairs out for people to be able to walk through and what have you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say there's ample room. You could probably fit more, we just, this is as much as we
We
can,
need so many.
yeah, we can kind of take care of.
Hopefully you need more.
Hope so.
Be nice.
I guess it would just be helpful in your patio layout to have some dimensions so we can see what those numbers are.
Do you have,
Because you got to maintain a clearance between a walk clearance next to the tables. And then we have to maintain a certain minimum distance between the tables and the building. So you really need to see a plan that shows what that is.
Yeah, just,
Just so just makes it easier to understand what's going on. And the distance between the tables too, that's,
snug.
From
a little
from the edge of the column on the south side to the end of the fence is 40 feet.
that's how long it is.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But the,
Just on the south.
but the width, so you have the building, then there's a walkway, then there's this column, and your seating area, and then there's planting, and then the street.
Right, that's about 11 feet.
Yeah, and that's the dimension we want to see what that is, so we can see that you've got the clearance between the planting and the tables. There's a minimum dimension we want to have through there.
You're talking about for the walkway itself after the tables? And
No, between the tables and the street, there's planting. So between the tables and that planting,
this walkway here, you want to know how
that wall, yeah.
much here is within
Yeah.
the walkway?
If that distance is roughly 11 feet, the tables will consume, I'm making this up, 5.5 feet, and the walkway is 5.5 feet, or whatever that dimension is. That's all.
At the longest point on the tables, it's 7 feet. So if they're on a turned basis, if you have the most pushback a chair is going to be and the most pushback another chair is going to be opposite of that, you're talking about 7 feet in total.
Yeah.
So the walkway itself is at a minimum 4 feet.
Yeah, because you're doing a diamond shape versus a square that the chair would maximize the intrusion into the walkway.
And then with that, it's outside, and we do have to have barrier-free accommodations in there, so is there turning radius for someone to get a wheelchair in there and turn around and get back out?
Yes, and in this,
Well, not
here,
in- not in-
although this isn't to scale, this will have a much wider opening as well.
But if someone goes down and gets at one of the other tables, can they go down there and turn around and come back out?
Yeah, there should be, the area is very wide, and the tables that we have, I don't anticipate them not even hitting the 7 feet mark, but I know that whenever we put in a booth at any of our restaurants where we put tables, we do an estimate of about 7 feet for the longest period, or point from the end of the chair to the end of the chair. And this being 11 feet, and we're going on a diamond, I think we have probably 5 feet, but no less than 4 feet at any point.
Okay, well, there's code requirements, you have to have a minimum
Absolutely.
number in there, so about 5 feet sometimes doesn't work, you have to have exactly 5
Absolutely.
feet.
And if we need to supplement, we'd gladly supplement. We can get
Well,
that number as much.
Just concerned, just without seeing the dimensions, it looks like it could work, but it would be nice to see the dimensions to actually know that it definitely does. So, that'd just be one of the conditions of making sure that those clearances are met.
Absolutely.
I think between the seating and the building, it's probably okay there. We gotta have at least 3 foot to go through there, and you're probably a little bit more than that.
There's 8 to 10 feet between.
Like I say, a minimum 3 feet, so you got that. The other side is just the number of tables pushed in here and then its dimensions. It just looks a little tight for, having it be accessible.
Absolutely. And we can provide that documentation.
Can I ask a question for staff? So if I'm looking at this properly, the seating will go beyond the storefront and in front of other existing businesses? Is that true?
That is correct.
Okay. So I don't know code-wise, because like if you just look at Farmington Brewery, right? Farmington Brewery's outdoor seating, only goes as far as the Farmington Brewery property. Because we had that discussion, remember we were talking about the Civic, they wanted to stretch a few feet and be in front of the Civic. So is there something
The
about,
public right-of-way right there, so that will be the city licensing that area. That's, area's not owned where they're putting that by the shopping center.
okay, so there's no legal issue, there's no, on this Google Maps image, we got Bodhi Yoga is not gonna say, wait a
No,
minute,
nope,
you
that's
got
public
restaurant.
right-of-way.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, so it's,
If Bodhi Yoga decides to be turned into Bodhi Restaurant, then and they want outdoor seating, then they have to have a conversation about that.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I mean, if you were scrunching over a couple feet, but the way this is drawn and the way that this image is, I'm not sure, remember if that's exactly what's still there, but it's
It'll
going.
be up to the
it's
city and the
spanning
shopping center owner.
What's that?
It'll be up to the city license and then the shopping center owner to control that area.
Okay, because it's stretching fully in front of two
Those are
more
leased
businesses.
spaces, so that's totally within the control of the shopping center. So if for some reason the shopping center owner wanted to allow someone else, space in there, that would be up to them. But again, that area is licensed within the city right of way, so that's,
And we have approval from the landlord as well.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Administration has reviewed their agreement with the shopping center.
I'm sure you guys have crossed your Ts and dotted your Is, right? I just want to make sure that we have two businesses that are all of a sudden going to have restaurant in front of their businesses. That's all. But if it's approved usage, the city's seen it, et cetera, then okay. Okay.
And you're good with the seat count, because you're adding almost 36 seats.
36 seats.
We have, yeah,
That's good with your total room count.
Yes, so we are conditionally approved for our indoor occupancy. Subsequent to this meeting, we are waiting on approval from the building department. But again, the space, given the size of our space and our bathrooms, we have the capacity to go up to 80.
Anything else?
Given chance for anybody who had any other questions?
Oh, it's 5 feet, the clearance. According to the note to number 4, the outdoor seating shall be located in a manner to maintain a minimum pathway of 5 feet clear of structures along the sidewalk. So you say you're close to 7, 8 feet.
Yeah, so the sidewalk area, it's quite expansive. So where the fence will go up, between the fence and the buildings, I'm sure that it's closer to double that.
Yeah, I had said 3 feet, it says 5 feet, so.
Do we have a motion?
I would make a motion that we approve the outdoor seating for Spruce and Ash, address 33043 Grand River Avenue. The presented plans meet the standards of section 35102B of the zoning ordinance, Central Business District. Of course, this approval is conditioned on subject to review and approval of insurance by city staff, completion of a license agreement between Spruce and Ash and the city for location of outdoor seating in the public right-of-way, and we would further ask the city to confirm the dimensions that Commissioner Crutcher noted in the conversation.
Comment.
I heard you specifically say.
Microphone.
The city of Spruce and Ash, and I believe it's between the city and the shopping center owner that agreement is gonna be made, not Spruce and Ash, they're the tenant in the shopping center.
Okay,
That was doesn't have a mic there, so.
right.
That was a clarification that the agreement was between the tenant and the
The shopping center owner.
shopping center owner, not the city.
Not-
And a subsequent agreement. So the way that, I think that it was explained before is that we have our agreement with Joe, obviously pending approval, and Joe will have the master agreement with,
And Joe is the shopping center owner.
Joe Early is the shopping center owner.
So I would say that the motion that I just made would be amended that the license agreement would be between the shopping center owner and the city, which is, of course, just furthering the agreement that the tenant, Spruce and Ash, has with the shopping center owner.
It may need to be between both. I'm not sure how it works for your liquor license, so I'm not sure I would specify too detailed who it needs to be between, but there needs to be a license agreement for this use in the right of way.
Let me start over with a motion. I might make a motion that we approve the outdoor seating for Spruce and Ash because the plans meet the standards of section 35102B of the zoning ordinance Central Business District. This approval would be subject to review and approval of insurance by city staff and the completion of the appropriate agreement between the city and the appropriate parties for the location of outdoor seating in the public right-of-way. Furthermore, we would ask that per Commissioner Crutcher's discussion and questions, that there's confirmation of the proper spacing as outlined in the zoning ordinance.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And we did have a question from the public about, and we're all interested too, how about a little timing?
It should be open in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
That is our hope, and
I would like to say that I was by there the other day, there's plenty of handicap access through there, between the door and where they're talking about putting the tables and chairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Are you planning a soft opening or like just a Shazam all at once?
probably just go right for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, on to new business B, 2026-2031 Capital Improvement Program.
Sure, so as discussed, before you is the capital improvement program that's come to a couple different meetings and been available to the public. The total of the capital improvement program for this go-around is a total of $59 million in projects, 120 total projects in all. They're a list of everything that the city is currently talking about. Obviously, the city doesn't have the funding to complete all of those, but it at least puts them down into paper so that people can pick up and see what things are being discussed at the city level. So what we're looking for is a motion to adopt the capital improvement program today.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
No?
If not, then can we have a motion?
Motion to adopt the 2026-2031 capital improvement plan?
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye?
All right. On to item number 7, update on current development projects. Mr. Weber, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, we heard Spruce and Ash is a couple of weeks away.
I've heard that about 2 weeks. I
Yeah.
heard that somewhere.
Lone Light Spirits is probably looking for somewhere around early June. Sante, early summer as well.
Okay.
What is that?
Sante, the wine bar in the Brown Dog space. And then Peace Tacos.
Peace Tacos moved their date twice or three times now. I think he's very, very busy with his other two businesses, and he just can't, he's got to have staff, he's got to be ready to go. He was supposed to be April 1st, because I was joking with him the day for him, April Fool's Day, we joked about that. But now I think he's looking at May 1st.
And where's that?
Right next, where the old Kentucky Fried Chicken is.
Oh, yeah.
Next to 8 Mile.
I have a question about Los Tres. So I remember years ago, right, we had looked at,
It's been at least a
Those
year, it
trees.
seems like, yeah.
and now the, looks like the cinder block is going up, so the Los Tres, they're gonna, blow the existing windows out and make, so are we losing all that outdoor seating again? I think we're,
I believe, and maybe we can have Jeff step up to the mic if you,
So Los Tres is executing the site plan that was in front of you.
right, yep,
That site plan, because they have to be careful of their occupant load. Up there, please. And have to be careful of their occupant load and exiting and things of that nature. They're going to enclose the existing seating area. They're going to have fire shutters between where their front windows are now, that if there were a fire, those would close. They have adequate egress from both sides. And they're basically going to have garage doors in the front that open up, so you, at least in the front, you're still going to feel like you're kind of outside.
Yep, yep.
That's the plan. So it's basically that same site plan that you looked at several years ago. Between the pandemic and them being able to start and execute. I didn't realize that owner owns more than several restaurants that have all been recently remodeled.
Great, thanks.
And of course, Hillside Towns has gone vertical. So we
Yeah.
got our first building under construction and walls are up.
Yeah.
2 more buildings to follow, as currently permitted.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Then on to item number 8 then, public comment. I guess we can motion to open public comment.
Motion to open public comments.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Would you like to make any more comment? All right.
I would make a motion that we close public comment.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On to item 9, planning commission comments. Any comments from the planning commission?
No?
All right. Then, number 10, adjournment. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Support?
Favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.